We are here again to talk some more about ancestors. So blessings, family. If you have been with me for a long time, welcome back. And if you are new here, welcome. My name is Mimi, and I like to teach people about spirituality, about manifesting. I also have a spiritual line where I make natural spiritual manifestation and healing products, and I'm gonna link it below if you want to check us out. But today we are going to talk about Ancestor Veneration. You guys know I mainly talk about African spirituality, so this is mainly going to be based on African traditions, okay? So we're gonna go over some ways that your ancestors can be venerated, okay, in this video. This is important for you guys to know. It's important to venerate your ancestors for protection, for guidance, to simply return back to your roots, because if you guys know history, certain things were forced upon us. So if you want to reconnect and reclaim your power, working with your ancestors, venerating your ancestors is one way to do that. It's one of the ways to start. Ancestor veneration is the practice of honoring your bloodline, spiritual, cultural ancestors for guidance, for protection, to continue their traditions, for spiritual connections, for you to grow yourself spiritually, especially if you are called to be a spiritual person or a spiritual practitioner, because anyone can be spiritual. So I'm gonna say spiritual practitioner. It's definitely important for you to venerate your ancestor. It's important to understand their culture, their practice, their way of life, how they did things before you. Now, just remember, we do not worship ancestors. We honor them and we work with them, but we don't worship them. Now, different places, different practices venerate ancestors differently. Now, in Yoruba, Ifa, like places like Nigeria, they refer to the ancestors as egungun, okay? And the way they venerate ancestors here is a bit different from other places. Over there, they are often celebrated through festivals. Like they literally have like a whole festival for the eguns, through dance moves and a few other things, right? And some places they pour in some practices, they pour libation, they give offerings, they have shrines for them. And certain cultures, they have seasons for them, like in Vodou, they have, Gede season, where they do similar things, they throw, parties or feasts or like celebration. They feed them by cooking meals that they like, okay? You can also decide to do something or hold a ceremony for an ancestor, for your ancestors, whenever you please or whenever they ask you for it too. All right. Some cultures, they give them rum, candles, different food that they used to like, or that's common in your culture. That's one way that you can venerate them. In some cultures, ancestors are viewed as intermediates between the physical world and the spiritual world. And in some practices, and they are seen as beings who work through the water and earth element, so they use those elements to work with these ancestors too. That's why we always have water on our ancestral altar. We always have a candle on our ancestral altar. We pour libations and we call their names. And oftentimes when we don't know their names, we say something like, I call on my ancestors from my mother's side. I call on my ancestors from my father's side. I call on the ones that I know and the ones that I don't know. That way you include everyone. So you don't always have to remember or know every single ancestor's name. Because let's be honest, you don't know your entire bloodline, but they know you. So it's always good to say something like, I call on my ancestors from my mother's side and my ancestors from my father's side. That way, everyone is included. I also like to say I call on all the ancestors who take an interest in me, because guess what? You also have ancestors who are not by blood. It could be an ancestor that you inherit from, maybe like a spiritual family, okay, or a friend. So I also like to include all the ancestors who take an interest in me at the end. If you are new to venerating your ancestor, I definitely would recommend to start with an altar. And having an altar can be simple. I will definitely be making a separate video on how to set up an ancestral altar. But having an altar, do a divination, see what, who, or if any needs to be elevated. And I'm also going to have a separate video on elevating your ancestors too. And I would also suggest that you always begin with just one simple glass of water. And you begin by building that relationship to let them know you have not forgotten them. Give them light. Talk to them. Talk to them as if they were a friend or a family member. Just talk to them. Whatever's going on in your life, you go and you talk to them. Not to ask for any crazy things or to ask them to hurt anybody, but to let them know so that you make them feel included in your life. Also, be consistent, okay? If you're like, have a schedule. If you're gonna do it weekly, do it weekly. Bi-weekly, do it bi-weekly. Every day, do it every day. But it's up to you to put them on that schedule. Keep a journal, especially when you're meditating in front of the altar. Keep a journal so that you can write down any messages that you receive. Now remember, don't just call on any spirits. Make sure you have boundaries, okay? Make sure you have boundaries. If you know the ancestors that walks with you, call on them. Or always call on the benevolent ancestors, the ancestors of light, the ancestors who are elevated. You always want to approach them with respect and humility. Don't just do any type of crazy things. And another thing that I would tell you is to make sure you are always cleansed. Make sure you are always clean when you go there. When I approach my altar, I like to knock with my knuckles like 3 times, and then I speak to them. Sometimes you can go when you come from work or you just feel heavy. You can go and you clean yourself. We'll talk about different things that can be done at the ancestral altar, but you can always go and clean yourself there in front of them. Remember, not all ancestors are elevated. Some of them may need help transitioning. So if you can do divination to figure that out, and if you need to know how to perform that, I do have a guide. Make sure you go on my website and check it out. It's free. And you can also go on the previous video on how to elevate your ancestors so you could learn as well. I believe that's the title of the video, but I'll try to pin it at the end of this video so that you know and understand how to do that process. If you are manifesting with your ancestors, it's important to venerate your ancestors. Why? Because they can remove blockages for you. They can open doors for you. A lot of times when you are manifesting and things are not coming to you as fast as you would like, it's because of that. It's because you don't have that relationship with your ancestors. You can't just wake up and say, I'm going to ask this ancestor for XYZ, but you don't even have a relationship with them. Do you walk out the door and go into the street and just ask a random stranger for random things? And if you were to do that, what are the chances that you will actually have luck in that? Most people will look at you crazy like, do I know you? So you have to make sure that you venerate your ancestors, especially when it comes to manifesting with them. You know, one thing that people don't understand about ancestors can actually help protect you. They can help protect whatever it is that you're doing, your relationship, your like love life, your money. They can help a lot with those two. You can be with a person, and if your ancestors and their ancestors don't get along, you will experience issues in that relationship. Okay, and there's rituals to do to bring those two ancestors together. We're not going to get into that here, but there's rituals to do for that. Whether you are manifesting with them, whether you are just getting started in your spiritual practice, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you take the time to elevate your ancestors, to build a better relationship with your ancestors so that they can remove blockages for you and guide you. Okay. I hope this video was helpful for you, and may our ancestors walk with us. May they guide us. May they guide our path. May they open doors for us. May they clear the road to our highest good. Ache.